Good morning everyone, my name is Colton Brunton, I run Brunton Media in Salisbury, and today, as you may have guessed, we're going to talk about video. Preferably I'm going to try and teach you how to actually create content through your phone. But the first question I wanted to open with was just a quick introduction so we can all get to know each other a little bit more, and also so for me, I can get to know the context of the business as well, so I can potentially give you some really good advice, very industry specific if I can. But also the question I want you to answer is, have you tried video before? So should we start at the back of the room with Galen? That'll be the easiest way, and then circle around.
Okay, yeah, so you're with me. I'm Galen, do content writing services, so I'm a copywriter and do content as well online. I have never done video marketing in my business before because it scares me. But obviously Instagram Reels are a huge thing right now and probably something I should be doing. And probably more videos of myself to really put a face to my business out there online. So that's me.
Hi, I'm Nikki. You guys all know me already as well, but my other business is On Track Business Support, and I also don't do videos for the exact same reason. They scare me.
Who would like to go? Sam?
Yeah, I'm Sam. I am part of a family printing company. I haven't done video marketing, but I'm definitely keen to do it with all of the machinery that I've got. So
Good.
I am Fiona, I am a photographer
Fantastic.
and I have done video, do video potentially. I've taken to doing Instagram Reels, every other post on Instagram, but if I can avoid being in them I am. And I've started procrastinating about them, and which I do generally with social media. I kind of keep it up for a while and I think, oh, I don't want to do that, busy enough. And then so that's where I'm at the moment. I'm like, I need to do one because I can't post my other post until I've posted my reel, because otherwise my grid will look wrong.
That's a separate conversation that we may or may not get into later on.
Ryan, RPM, balloting and detailing. So obviously quite a visual end product of what I do. I tend to use stills a lot. I have done some video before. I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't use it. I don't populate it. It's just kind of there to be part of all the social stuff that I've got. The videos that I have done tend to have been what I walk around to the cars, but I haven't really done it for a long time. Same as a lot of yourselves, I don't really flip the camera and be engaging with me and people buying into kind of the service that I deliver and who's delivering the service. It's more about the end product, the end result of what I do and what I do. So maybe I need to think about that a little bit more. Reels, yeah, I've not done them. I've used an app called Splice a couple of months ago to kind of come up with a video, but it wasn't very good, I don't think. So I need to improve on that and really sort of look at doing Reels and other ways, I suppose, to maximise video for a business.
Fantastic. What about you both, ladies?
I'm Shira, and I'm a wellbeing coach, and I also do aromatherapy, massage and things like that. I haven't had the confidence to do it. I have tried and done a few things and then deleted them. It just feels very false, stunted, not natural. So, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm Claire, I run Dorset Coast Royals, and I'm seeing more use of video in my industry area, and it, everything that everyone said already applies to me too. So.
Fantastic. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to ask that is because I don't want to waste your time, right? So the crux of why you should use video, everyone's I think established on, is because we can have that personal connection without trading time, right? But the thing I'm going to really focus in on today is the confidence aspect of it, because it seems to be a really common trait among the group. There's a lot of mindset work that one needs to do if they're going to be on video, right? So a lot of the questions around how do I look, how do I sound, what am I going to talk about, can be really remedied by, number one, planning what you're going to do, right? That helps. I don't mean necessarily script the whole thing. I just mean come up with an idea. Right, so a live stream is a key example of this. Traditionally, a live stream was, right, we're going to press live. Okay, we're going to wait for some people to join. I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to wait for people to join. And then I'm going to wait for some questions. But the problem with that is you haven't given them any context. You haven't given them any content. You haven't delivered anything. So how can someone ask you a question? So one of the things you need to do in marketing is you need to firstly understand who you're trying to target, right? So what do you want to do from your marketing, right? In layman's terms, it's I want to get more work, or I want to get more awareness, or I want to get more knowledge around what I do, okay? Fantastic. But that's the really easy answer. So what's below that, right? What's actually going to get you, because everyone in this room, if you take your own personality away from your business, what's going to stand you apart? So not your personality, so it's not you, which at the moment we haven't shown from what it sounds like in the room. So why should I go to anyone in this room over going to someone who does exactly the same as you? What's the distinguishing factor that there isn't one at the moment technically, right? Because the reason why someone would choose going to me over going to someone else who does what I do is because they like my approach. Problem is, if I never show you my approach, you don't know what my approach is, so you can never be in the position where you either like it or don't. The thing is about target audiences is you need to choose, and it's like in life, etc., right? Like you personally aren't going to connect with everyone, but also in business, you don't want everyone. So suddenly you'll realize once you actually lean into this and believe in this, you'll suddenly go, well, why am I worried about so-and-so being a keyboard warrior? Why am I worried about this person who's anonymous saying that my content's rubbish or not very valuable? But also the other way it is, right? Like it's not my job to decide what's valuable. It's the person consuming's job. So what I would say from a confidence point of view is there's a certain level of you just have to do it, right? Which we'll get onto a little bit later on. But also you need to ask yourself about why you're having those hurdles yourself from a psychological point of view to go, well, why don't I? Why do I care what people think? Why do I care? Like, are you either doing it to increase the likelihood your business is successful, or are you doing it because of a vanity metric of I want to be famous, or I want to have social media followers, or I want to gain likes, or whatever? Nothing wrong with any of these answers, but honestly ask yourself, what do you want from it? If you're doing it for work and you're doing it to get more work out of what you're doing, then you have to do it. And in the nicest way possible, you have to put your big or girl pants on and just get it done. Because it's not going to suddenly be easy until you do it, right? Like me giving this workshop, or me giving talks, or me giving talks. If you had talked to me at the start of the year, I would have gone, no, don't be silly. But now I know it's the path that I need to go to grow what I'm trying to do. So it's like, okay, is this uncomfortable at the beginning? Yes, it is. But why does that matter, right? Am I being authentic to myself, and am I going to hopefully add value to you? Because that's what matters. This uncomfortableness for me is part of the process in becoming comfortable in whatever it is that you're doing. You can use a video today as the example, but I'm sure you've had it with clients. Oh, I don't want to be on camera. No. Don't take my photo. No, don't do that. You know. So the question is, like, why do you think you're not going to look your best? Now, I don't need to know those answers, but you do, right? Because it doesn't matter to me. But it will matter to you, and it will matter to your audience, because if you're going to be authentic to yourself, which is where social media is now going, with the changes to iOS, with the changes to cookies coming, etc., the concept of having targeted advertising is going away. It is becoming harder and harder and harder and harder and harder to do, right? Which means advertising and marketing, actually I think is a good thing, is going to have to become, you buy from me because you like me. You buy from me because you trust my opinion. You buy from me because you see me as an authority figure in video, right? Or in whatever you do. Where you could potentially get unstuck is where you yourself don't believe you're an authority figure. And that's probably, if you really ask yourself honestly, you don't believe you're an authority figure. Now that's fine, but now you know what you need to do. You need to ask yourself, why do you not think you're an authority figure? Right? Now, there's a fine line here that you need to ride, right? Because it can quite quickly get to egotistical territory, right? But that's, again, not your decision to make. To some people, I'm egotistical. To other people, I'm confident. I'm the same person. I do the same thing. So either am I or not? But it's all perception, right? So it's not, again, and hopefully the part of this talk that hopefully you'll enjoy and get from, is it's not your responsibility for people to either care or not. Create content that talks to the person you want to talk to, and by proxy you will alienate the person you don't want to talk to, but you need to be okay with that. Because otherwise you're just shouting into the void hoping someone listens, but you're actually not saying anything at all, because you don't have an opinion. And you're not saying, actually, no, this is why you need to do it this way, right? So, I'll give you an example. I'll use your example with will writing. If I don't have a will, to you, that's like, it's not great, it's not great. For me, I'm like, well, I'm still young. The likelihood I die is possible, yes. Impossible, no. Unlikely, yeah. So why should I have a will? But until I'm educated on like how me not having a will right now is a problem, then I don't know I don't need a will. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? It's the same with what you do, getting, right? If someone doesn't understand the value of SEO, or doesn't understand how you've written content, or even images, or even what I do, why do they not? They don't know they need to do video. They don't know they need photography. They don't know they need blog content. Like, if my car's, I'll use Ryan as an example. If my car is always dirty, I don't know what it's like clean, right? If I just wash it with a sponge, I don't know what it's like when it's been detailed. right? Like, so it's about, like, when you create content, it's about saying, hey, look, I want your attention over here because I'm trying to tell you something really important. It's not about, look at me, I'm amazing. I'm the vehicle to educate the client or the target market on whatever it is I do. Just so happens to be me doing it. And once you're in that mindset, it will start to remove yourself from my camera. Oh, I don't like the way I look. Which is fine and is completely normal, right? But that isn't important. Like, and I hate to be brutal, but it doesn't matter. How you look doesn't matter. Whether you're the most beautiful individual in the world, and you all are in your own right, there's always going to be the person on the internet who goes, well, they could have worn more makeup. Why is he wearing a hat? That hat doesn't suit him. Why is he wearing a tie? That hat doesn't suit him. Why is he wearing a waistcoat? It's going to happen. Whatever you do, it's going to happen, right? Whether I'm wearing shorts, whether I'm wearing a suit, whether I'm wearing a waistcoat, whether I'm wearing a hat, whether I'm not wearing a hat, whether my hair's green, blue, whatever. But the question you need to ask yourself, if you really want to get into it, is why are they doing that? What's wrong with them? What crap have they had to deal with? So that you are the thing they're venting towards, right? And this is when people start on social, and the reason why I mention it here is because they have these hurdles in their head, and they go, "I'm not going to do that because." Hopefully, after today, you'll have less becauses, because the opportunity isn't going to go away completely, but the opportunity to get a lot of attention quickly is going to go away. Gadian asked me a couple of days ago to talk about Instagram Reels and talk about TikTok. And I can't, technically she only asked me to talk about Instagram Reels, but I can't talk about Instagram Reels and not talk about TikTok. Because the only reason why Instagram Reels exist is because of TikTok, right? Now for a long time, TikTok was a dirty word in the marketing space, right? It was a Chinese company that was only for lip syncing and dancing, right? And it was when it was Musical.ly. And for anyone who consumes our content, you'll know the backstory on that. But the crux of what it is now is it's a culture of content. There's photographers on it, there's detailers on it, there's copywriters on it, there's wall writers on it, there's videographers on it. Every single industry has a culture related to it. TikTok calls it culture talk. You can call it what you like. It's a sub-niche within TikTok itself. Same is true on Instagram, same is true on YouTube Shorts, the same is true on YouTube. Every platform has a culture within it. Same with LinkedIn. You can be very specifically tailored around that because you're only going to choose who you're going to connect with, right? So if you only want to talk to lawyers, just connect with lawyers. Suddenly all of your connections are lawyers. There we go. The crux in that is firstly consume a load of stuff. If you want to know how to create it and you want to know what's engaging, go on TikTok. How people have their phones on them? Everyone? Fantastic, okay. So we'll do the first practical exercise. Who doesn't have TikTok on their phone? Okay, first step, let's get TikTok on everyone's phones.
Oh, really? I love it.
I just share it.
I'm sick of
I watch this lady sleepwalking all the time. Do you know the lady?
Not personally, but, you know,
You showed me.
I'm intrigued.
If I have room left. It's creaking.
I don't want it very often, but...
That's what she says publicly.
Selena Spooky Boo.
Means nothing to me, but...
Yeah, we're not that.
I mean, the fact that half the room didn't have TikTok on their phone kind of makes me gather they probably don't know a person on TikTok.
Do you know what? She's the reason I downloaded it, because it was on Facebook, on the, you know, the things that now are on Facebook. And I was like, what's this sleepwalking thing? And I found it hilarious. And I was like, oh, she's on TikTok. Oh, I don't have TikTok. I'll just watch that.
See, my main issue with TikTok is that I always refuse to have it because my husband's always sat on it and doesn't play with the kids. So that's where I'm at, like...
Okay, so that's a different conversation entirely, right? That's about setting boundaries on phones in the family dynamic, right? We can go into that, but
that's the only reason why I haven't got that on my phone.
But from a purely business and a marketing point of view, it's free attention, unfortunately, right?
I get it.
It is rapidly going to eclipse Instagram if it hasn't done already in viewership. In regards to like people who use the app every day, it's very close if it hasn't already eclipsed Instagram.
Oh, I've got two there.
Unfortunately, I do it.
I'm not seeing much.
Yeah, I have no video.
God, mine's been worse though. Is anyone else done it?
No, still arguing.
Are we going to shut down their Wi-Fi now?
As I say, we're just blowing out their Wi-Fi all the way, trying to download TikTok all at the same time.
I mean, this is why I'm not a fan of TikTok. I've got 2 followers, never posted anything. One of them is called Randy
Great
Nick.
account, right?
Randy Nick.
Randy Nick.
Randy Man.
This is why I like TikTok. Like, how random is this? That house in London.
I'll see that. Cool.
Have
It
you?
widens up at the other end. It's not all that skinny.
I don't. It says turn on mobile data or use Wi-Fi. And I don't know what to do.
You should be able to get on Wi-Fi here.
There should be
There is a free
a
Wi-Fi.
woodpecker guest one. Do you want me to come over, Claire?
Yes, please. One
Well,
step
so that was
I
further.
will freak my son's girlfriend out by following him. He's just blocked up. That's true. Interesting.
We weren't expecting such a large part of the thing to be.
It's just going to say, it's going to have a tick box. So just do the tick box and then click connect. Do you want me to do it? Are you on there?
Oh, there it is, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Someone's definitely on TikTok.
He's my other follower.
I've got 5 followers.
No
No,
way.
check you out. I've never posted a video.
That's going to change today, I'm afraid.
Oh,
You're all going to be TikTok famous.
Wash my hair.
I'm even more scared now.
I wish I hadn't left the top down on the way here down there.
You see, the things you're already worrying about before we've even got the content, right? So this is where you've got to start working on your mindset to go, actually, me having wet hair or me having not perfect hair or me not having perfect this or perfect that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, the content that you're going to deliver is the bit that's important. Everything else is surface level rubbish. Right? Even where you're stood, excluding the stuff I'm going to go over later when we do the practical bit. And even that, some of it's even technically like, if the audio's all right, you'll be all right. If you're a black square, it might be a little bit more challenging, but anyway. The crux of it is about getting into the habit of doing it and documenting what you're doing every day, right? A lot of it is about, sometimes we go, oh, I have no content because I haven't planned any. Why do you need to plan it? What happens in your day-to-day that you have a thought and go, this would be a really good idea of content? When you rewire your brain to go, I've got a thought, I'm going to bleh, whether that's a video on your phone that you then use later, or directly onto TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever else you're going to post it, then you can be in the position where you don't need to worry about where's my content coming from. Something that we do all the time is we try to document everything I'm doing, whether it's a talk like this, or just in a meeting, or etc., or if there's a specific thing that I'm like, actually that's a really good takeaway, let me write it down. After that meeting, I will go delivery, save, edit it later. But that's because I want to have the post-editor control. For you, pick up your phone, talk, post, done. If you start doing that process, the idea of posting, by the time you're about a month in, will not be intimidating for you. Because it will just be part of your routine. Whenever we start anything, it's always a bit, ooh. Right? Imagine when you first rode a bike. You weren't exactly zipping down the road, were you? You were going, oh, I don't know, oh, I don't know. Oh. That's the same with content. It's the same with anything that we do, right? But if you're not willing to invest the time, you're going to find it very hard to gain the benefits. And I think, and again, I don't want to liaise on the point about confidence so much, but it comes through doing it. There is no concept where I can go, here's your confidence pill. It's internal. It's an internal dialogue thing. It's an internal psychological thing that's like, hey, I'm going to do this thing, and I actually genuinely don't care about the outcome. And that's important, especially when you start out, because the reality of the fact is, the people that are going to watch your content at the start out is your family and friends, maybe a client or two, but that's it.
And that's the bit that worries me. I don't mind about people I don't know, or my clients. I'm talking to my clients who are very different to my family and friends. And that's the people that I get embarrassed about seeing it.
Mine's the family.
Yeah.
My family's seen my videos.
Okay, but what makes you feel embarrassed about them seeing it?
I think they might think, oh, here she goes showing off again.
Okay, okay, no, that's a fair point.
Surely that's a good thing then, because that makes you more confident.
So let me flip that. Is it you're showing off, or is it you're proud of what you do?
I'm proud of what I do.
Okay.
None of my friends' business end, none of my close friends. I've got some hands-on with friends with this.
None of you in the room are my friends.
But none of my close friends, I've just stopped digging again. Anyway, none of my friends are business owners.
That's second strike.
So by the end of the workshop, half the room will be gone, right? Fair enough.
And I don't think they get it. I think they go.
So the question I would have is, do they need to?
Friends, it doesn't matter whether they get it or not.
Is your friend? Are your friends going to pay you?
No.
Are your family going to pay you?
No.
Have
So-
they ever actually commented on any of your thing? Not
No.
on the actual thing, but to you and said, honestly, what were you doing? Or anything like that? Like,
See,
my create this feeling.
My brother has with me. He does not take my business seriously, but he's a big brother that likes to tease. And so I'm very aware that he could be viewing my video, and he will use that as his next, when I next see him and he next comes down to visit, that will be his next thing. Like when I start the network and it's like, oh, we're doing networking tonight? And then once he's literally gone on a blog post and typed a load of random words. And so that's...
Now, I won't get into the family dynamic problem there, but the point I was going to make there is, why do you care that he's teasing you? Because, let me theorise an example for you, okay? You do this, your brother teases you for this, but you gain loads of work,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Or, you don't do this, and your brother teases you anyway?
Yeah.
About something else?
Yeah.
So what's the downside?
Yeah, that's what we do it. Yeah.
He's a brother, that's his job. He's going to tease you no matter what.
Yeah.
At least you get a
And especially if it earns you, like if it starts actually becoming a point where it's a genuine revenue stream for you in respect to like lead gen, and it's ridiculous amounts of lead gen, he will suddenly shut up, because if he realises that it's making you thousands of pounds, he'll go, fucking hell.
Yeah.
What the hell am I doing? Right? And it's all fun and games within reason, and that's why I opened the talk with, either you're doing it for a legitimate business purpose, or you're doing it because you want to. Neither of which are wrong, but just choose. If you're doing it for a business purpose, take it effing seriously, because it's your business. This is how you make your living. Either that's serious or it's not. And if it's not, I can't help you. If you want to take it seriously, then I can. But you can't let yourself stand in your own way. Because part of the issue that everyone has with starting content is, I want to go this way. Doesn't work until you let yourself take that step forward. It's up to you. I can give you every single tool in the book. It's up to you whether you continue to use it outside of this room. I can teach you how to create a video and all the fundamentals of how to create a video and how to choose a target audience and how to think about it. But you actually have to do it consistently for it to work. And this is the key thing with video. A couple of years ago, about 2012 backwards, you could do a promotional video and it would actually do a lot for your business. Because people would still have that wow factor. They're like, wow, that's incredible. And that's still good, but it's not going to print money in the way it used to. Because everyone has one. And times have changed. So now the question is, what are people not doing, right? As some of you may know, I run a podcast, and one of the best things I took from a couple of episodes back was, it was with James from Shogun Social, and he said to me, I'm willing to do what 95% of businesses are not willing to do. So if that means being in content, he's willing to be in content. If that means doing an extra networking meeting when he's tired, or when he's done too much, then he'll do it. If that means pushing himself out of his comfort zone to give a talk to a bunch of execs, or give a sales pitch, or give a talk to a bunch of people, then he'll do it. My question to you is, what are you willing and what are you not willing to do? For the good of the business. Not the good of you, outside of the fact it will make you money and then you can potentially have a better life overall. But the crux and what I'm trying to get you to unravel in your head is why you had those confidence issues at the beginning. Because hopefully now you'll start thinking, what was I worried about? Right? And I think it would be interesting in a minute, I'm going to throw back to the room again, because I want to go around again. I want to ask, are you still confident? Or are you starting to are you still nervous about creating that content? And what I think, maybe not 100% yet, but you're going to start getting to the point where you're like, why was I worried? Right? I mean, can I just quickly get a show of hands? Who's still worried about the concept of creating content? Okay, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, but okay, why? What's the hurdle? What are you worried about? Is it you still don't feel you've got the confidence?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I do it, and I have done it, but I don't do it easily. So,
I'll be honest with you, no one does it easily.
No. Perhaps I've got more confidence.
I'll be honest, this isn't easy,
No.
but doing anything in life isn't easy. Building a business isn't easy. Going to networking isn't easy. I'm sure everyone is quite seasoned in networking in this room, but imagine that time when you first went to that first networking event. That first time, you've never gone before, you've just decided I'm going to do business networking. That was scary, wasn't it? That was like, fucking hell. Got to talk to human beings about what I do. No. Or the first sales conversation you ever had. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with content. You can go 10 years ago and see absolute car crash content from me. The reason why that still exists is because I want to show you, this is where I was 10 years ago, and this is where I am now. But that took 10 years. I'm not saying today you're going to go from there to here. All I want you to do is this. That's it. If you take the first step today, you're on the road. The first step is always the hardest. And my goal today is to give you all the tools so you can make that first step. But then it's up to you. If you want me to help you after that, great, cool, let's have that conversation. But at the end of the day, the person who's going to do it is you. The person who's also going to benefit from it is going to be you. Because to be honest with you, it doesn't matter to me. I've done my job, I've come what I said I would do. There we go, thank you very much. But the crux is, when are you going to take yourself seriously? As a business owner, or as a thought leader in your industry? Whichever one is harder for you to gravitate your head around right now. Because clearly everyone in this room has been in business long enough to be a thought leader. You just haven't made the decision to be that yet. Because if you're in business, you know enough to be in business. Otherwise you wouldn't be sat here now being in business. Right? So surely you've got more than enough information to become a thought leader. So what's the difference between a thought leader and you? The only difference is the thought leader articulates what they know consistently. And they have a level of prestige because they can talk in front of a room or whatever. But that's a credibility building thing that happens by doing it. As I said, when I started doing talks at the start of the year, was not comfortable at all. You can probably tell that if you look at some of the first talks we did this year. But I knew I had to get through that stage so I could be comfortable with this. I was going to say, are we on TikTok or?
It's taken me that long to get in.
Fantastic, we got there. Yes, yes, we're there. Fantastic. I was like, I've heard this before. We must be on TikTok. So
I didn't search that.
and this is, it's funny you mentioned that. This is the thing about TikTok and why it's so powerful and why it was emulated by everyone else. Was because you didn't have to search anything. You open the app and go, been served content already.
Don't look kids.
And it will be content you like. Now the background behind that is very simple. What have I watched for longer periods of time? Right? I'll use the really simple analogy that I use in all my talks, which is, why is my FYP full of cats? Probably because you've watched Cats, Colin. Just saying. But the thing is, it's about understanding the algorithm is really simple. If you give it watch time, you'll be served more of it. So if you don't want to be served Cats, stop watching Cats. However much that might be heartbreaking. Maybe in your case you want to watch Puppy. I don't know. But you've got one in reality, so why you're on TikTok watching one is a separate conversation.
Or someone sleepwalking.
Or someone sleepwalking. I mean, I'm not judging, but anyway. The crux is, you can use TikTok in two ways. Either you can be a creator or you can be a consumer. What I'd recommend is you start being a consumer before you be a creator. Because it will allow you, especially if you want to really get into your own niche, start watching content in your niche. All right, so watch, I'll use me as an example, watch other filmmakers on TikTok and what they're going to create to give you an idea of what is already out there. There's a reason why we do market research at the beginning of a business and not at the end. Because we want to know, is it worth me all the time and effort and energy into becoming a video production company or a video marketing agency or a photographer or a copywriter, a will writer, detailer, etc. Because is the market oversaturated? Now, there's nothing wrong with it if it is, but you need to know that. In the same way, you need to know what's on TikTok. You need to know what's on Instagram. You need to know what's on Facebook. You need to know what's on YouTube. Right? TikTok specifically is where the attention is right now. In 5 years, it will still be there, it will still be relevant, but it will be a different platform. It's becoming an ad platform. Think early Facebook, think early Instagram. That's where TikTok's lifestyle is now. Think 2008 Facebook, 2008 Instagram. That's where TikTok is right now in its lifespan. In 5 to 6, and the same with LinkedIn. LinkedIn's still really, really, really organic driven because the ad platform hasn't grown enough yet where it can be like, hey, we're going to ask lots of money from you to do the same thing that you did 2 years ago for free. Simple supply and demand. When they have all the attention, they can suddenly go, if you want this amount of attention now, you're not going to get it organically. And this is what I mean by you can use TikTok now to gain ridiculous amounts of organic attention. Give it 5 years, you'll have to pay to get the same amount of attention. Nothing wrong with that. That's the evolution of the platform. Like, the reason why TikTok's got so popular is because it's starting to become mainstream. But imagine if you were on TikTok and you were one of the first copywriters, detailers, so on TikTok. What would have happened when this massive influx of users had come onto the platform and started using the app? Well, surely all your content would go, whew, right? But because it's oversaturated now, people are like, oh, missed the boat. But what people don't appreciate is that niching down effect. You're not trying to talk to the 2.1 or 1.1 or whatever the number is on TikTok. You want that 1% that's potentially going to buy from you. Again, that takes time. Again, that takes energy. Again, that takes education. Yes. But who is that person to you? Who is that target market? Who is that person? And you can go really generic with it. It's a female in her 20s. Yes. Okay. Or it's a person with these interests. Because then you can tailor your content around what you're discussing. Right? Like, I speak to a business audience. Why? Why do you think? Why do you think I speak to a business audience in all of my content?
That's who you want to work with.
Because I have zero interest in getting famous. I have every interest in getting more work. Right? And that's what I mean by being very clear in your own mind about why you're creating the content. Are you doing it because you want likes, comments, fame, etc.? Nothing wrong with that. Is that why you're doing it? Okay. Or is it to be a lead gen for you? Is it something that you can get more work out of? Okay. Fantastic. But then, who is it? If it is something you want to get more work for, you then need to really ask yourself, who do you want to work for? Who are they? Where are they? Is it geotyped? For us, we have to be quite specific in where we're targeting geolocated-wise, because we can only go within a region, right? In most cases, right? Of course, if someone wants to fly me out to America, feel free, right? But it's unlikely. So me connecting American relationships is part of a longer-term plan, but I'm not expecting it to give me anything anytime soon, because that's not the point of why I'm doing it. The point of why I'm doing local networking or local content creation, especially in Salisbury specifically, is because I want to attract Salisbury businesses to say, hey, what's Colton doing? Why should I care about what Colton's doing? And the thing is, if someone comes to you, it's a very easier sell than you going to them. All right? And what can happen with content, especially if you're consistent, is you'll be front of mind to go in whatever you do, right? So one of the things that we've seen is people think, because you should be memorable, people who talk about networking are always going to tell you to be memorable, right? So the things I want you to remember is Colton and video. That's it. Preferably a little bit more about me, ideally. But at a really, really crux level, they're the only two things I need you to remember. Because then whenever you think, oh, we need a video, or you hear someone that says, oh, you need a video, who's going to jump to mind first? There's plenty of other people who do what I do. There's not many who do it as consistently as I do it. Which is why I'm always going to come up first in your mind when you think video. You can have that same power if you're willing to commit to doing content. Now, I'm not saying you should commit to doing content at all, that's your decision. But if you're not willing to commit to it, you can't expect it to do anything for you. And unfortunately, it's like anything in life, in business, you have to put a lot of effort in at the beginning, get absolutely nothing. A lot more effort again, absolutely nothing. A little bit more effort, then absolutely nothing. Eventually what will happen is the right timing will be at the right place for the right people, and then you'll get some work. It will be very sporadic, very random. It will be, hey, I've been following your content for 6 months, really educational, really valuable, really enjoy it, you're part of my routine, we need to do a video campaign, can we have a conversation? Or we need a new promotional video, can we have a conversation? Or we're having issues with our culture, can we do some internal videos to help with that? Of course is the answer to all those questions. But how are you going to position yourself to be that go-to person? right? I use the video example, replace it with whatever you do, right? Because every single market in this room is hyper competitive. Same with mine. That doesn't mean you can't stand apart. And the reason why you can stand apart is because of you being you, not because you're just another video person, right? So you can actually turn the thing that everyone in this room was really worried about, which is how do I look, how do I sound, so on, and turn it into your biggest asset. Because if you're authentic to yourself, which is where marketing is going, then you can be in the position to go, actually me swearing is not a big deal because I would swear normally. Okay, me walking and wearing this way, like wearing the clothes I would wear would be normal because that's how I'm going to look. Sometimes I don't wear makeup. Okay, but that's not a big deal because sometimes I don't wear makeup. Sometimes I wear this, sometimes I wear that. We're removing these boundaries where it doesn't matter, because as long as you're authentic to yourself and you believe in yourself and you trust yourself and you love yourself, it doesn't matter. And then when you get that shitty comment on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you'll then be able to go from a perspective of being empathetic instead of going, well, I got a shitty comment. Because you can go, well, what? Why is that person having a shit day? You can be empathetic and go, Christ, what happened to them? They've just wrote me a paragraph of why my life's terrible. In reality, what are they saying? That your life's terrible? And you just happen to be the catalyst. You just happen to be the thing that they open the app onto. So they go, you know what? Oh, okay. Is that fair? No. Is that the anonymous internet culture? Yes.
That's just life in general.
Unfortunately, right? And to be honest, nowadays it's not even the I don't know who you are bit, because that happens in life anyway. Everyone will remember a situation or know a situation where they're in a position, whoever that may be in their life, or someone comes home, they've had a bad day, or your partner's come home and had a bad day and they take it on you, not because they want to, but because you're in a place of care with them. So they know you're not going to just crumble and, it's still not fair, but it's just what happens, right? And sometimes having that level of empathy and having that level of understanding to the other person can actually create you to be better as a human, but also create better content. Because you can empathize with your target audience at that point. So moving it slightly back to the content side of things, if you keep getting comments saying, I don't like this, okay, ask why. Why do they not like that? And ask yourself, okay, is this the person that I want to target? Is this the person I want to talk to? If it is, tweak the content. You're never going to get content right 100% of the time. You'll have one video that does really well for no reason. And then you'll have videos that you put your heart and soul into, and they get 4 views. Mm-hmm. And it's the most soul-crushing thing in the entire world. But this is why you need to understand, and you need to really, really trust yourself and say, vanity metrics are not what's going to pay the bills. They're lovely, they're great, they're wonderful to have, but they're actually not that important. They're fine if you want to have a marketing campaign and you want those key performance indicators to say, well, this got this number of views, and this did this, and this did that. That's fine. They have their place. But what does it actually do for your business? I would rather have a video get 5 views, but 4 of those views, managing director, CEO. My mum. Right? It's probably likely. Instead of hundreds of thousands of views of people who are never going to hire me. Again, are you doing it for fame? Or are you doing it to create a business? Which are you doing it? Neither's wrong, just make the decision. And then stick to it. And commit to it. Because if you're doing it to grow your business, then you need to be very, very tactical in where you put it, how you put it there, and what content you're creating. Something that could work really well for you specifically is doing before and afters. So showing the raw before you've edited it, showing after. That I've seen work really, really well with photographers.
Yeah.
But that can be a thing to open to the room as well, right? If you're a very service-based industry, ask your client or do a case study and say, right, how was your business before we started working together, right? And then at the process, okay, now what are we saying? In your case, it's really easy. Dirty car, clean car, right? For each business, it can become quite harder to do that, but there's always ways if you think smart on the journey of doing it, right? Now, I'm not saying doing it with every client. I'm not saying we do it every project you have. I'm saying be open to the ideas that come and write them down. I promise you, don't think you're going to remember them, because you won't. Okay, you won't. So have an idea book, have an idea notepad, have an idea something. Have a whiteboard, have whatever your method is, it doesn't matter. Because it's yours. Again, like a lot of this is about create something that works for you. It's not about, is it going to work for me or not? It doesn't matter if it works for me or not. Because I've got my own method, right? But if you start documenting your ideas, when you get around to creating content, this is my content day, where I create content for social media, you won't be in the position of what I'm going to create. It'll be the question, what do I feel like creating? What do I want to create? Because you'll have this long, long list. Because you'll document all the ideas. Before we broke, I asked you to think about a question. So I just want to do a little bit of Q&A for about 5-10 minutes before we jump into the practical stuff. Has anyone got any questions? Specifically around the first half and what we discussed, and anything specifically you want me to go in a little bit more depth on?
Yeah, I have one.
Yep.
So obviously you mentioned TikTok and Instagram Reels, and obviously Instagram Reels come from TikTok.
They're inspired. They're inspired.
Which do you
Can't say copied for legal reasons, but they're inspired.
Which do you create the content for? Do you create it for TikTok and share it on your Instagram Reels, or do you put it on Instagram Reels?
So we create it with the portrait phone in mind. We don't actually create it for, this is for TikTok.
Right.
If I was doing it to really we don't optimize what we're doing at all, because it's simply just a cost and a time benefit thing. Personally, what I'm doing at the moment is saying, right, here's a landscape version to go to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, and here's a portrait version to go everywhere else.
So you just upload it onto separate platforms?
Yeah.
Video on separate platforms?
Same platform. And the reason why I do that is because 50 to 90% of the people who are going to consume it are not going to have seen it on the other platforms.
Yeah.
Right? Because yes, there's a percentage of people who will follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. I'm sorry, the content's the same, right? But from a simple time perspective and from just getting volume, because to an extent when you get content, you have to have a level of volume for it to work. The best way to do that is start having a load of volume, and it also increases your chances that one will get into the algorithm and one won't. I'll give you an example. The videos that sometimes go viral or get more coverage than I would expect on TikTok are not the same as the ones that do the same on Instagram, because they're different platforms and they're going to be served for different people. The principle is to creating a formula within your business or within what you're doing where you can document what you're doing, so the content of content creation becomes just so happens to be what you're doing, and then you have byproduct of social media content. It's not because traditionally it was very, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk to a camera now. And that's part of the reason why you don't like doing it, or you don't feel confident doing it, because you're upping the ante on what your expectations are. If you can just get to the point where you're documenting what you're doing and you're just I'm writing, I'm doing whatever, you'll get content out of doing that. Either that's ideas for content to create, or it's quite literally content. Because when you document, you're not thinking about content, you're thinking about the conversation you're having or whatever you're doing. I'm thinking about how can I add value to the room, not how can I create content out of it. Just so happens to be that I'm filming it, which means I can use it later. Because otherwise, this information stays inside this room. But now I can go, okay, great. The room got some great value, hopefully. But now I can go and give it to the internet in however many chunks I want. 1 chunk, 15 chunks, 20 chunks. And something that we were discussing in the break was you should create content eventually, not at the beginning. Doesn't matter what you do at the beginning, just start doing it. But eventually what you should try and grow to is being in the position where it just so happens to be that you do the solution of what you're discussing. So don't say, hey, look, I do this, or hey, look, it's this. It's oh, this person needs this, and I can be the solution to their problems. So when you position yourself as the solution, it gives you two things. Number one, leverage in a client conversation, and number two, credibility to the market. As we were talking about earlier, how are you going to become a thought leader? The only difference between a thought leader and someone who's in business is a thought leader articulates their thoughts and a business owner holds them to themselves. Now, one of the common questions I get is, why do you give out so much? Because people who've had one-to-ones with me, people who've had conversations, I know I'll just give and give and give and give and give. Now, why? Two reasons. Number one, I trust in karma to give it back to me, not in the way I control, not how. It will come back. It just will, because that's my belief system, and it's worked. But also, there's a psychological principle, reciprocity, I think is how it's called. And basically, the crux of it is, if I give you something when you weren't expecting it, you're more likely to give me something back. Now, I don't expect anything back, and you probably shouldn't, to be honest. But the benefit of doing that is you'll then have that leverage to say, well, I'm positioned as the expert and you need what I have. Okay. So now the question is, when it becomes a no-brainer for a business, it's no longer the question of how much could we budget for, it's how much does it cost not to do this, right? Because once you've made it very obvious to that person, I used your will example, right? How valuable is a will if I think I'm going to die tomorrow? Right?
You might not.
I might not, you're right. But let's say I knew I was going to die tomorrow. Or I was at least thinking in my head going, what if I do die tomorrow? Okay, me now having a conversation with a will writer is very important all of a sudden. Right? But if I didn't change my mindset around, or you didn't help me change my mindset around it by creating content, and so, so what happens to your family? So what happens to all that camera kit that you own? What happens to Ignite if Galen dies in a bus accident, for example, as we were talking about this morning, before 10 o'clock, but anyway. The things you talk about. It's about positioning it so that it's not a negotiable conversation. 50%, or probably actually 60 to 70% of the conversations I have now is like, a company says to me, we have to do video, we don't know how. Help, please. So it's not the question of should we, it's a question of we need to, and we want you to do it, and we want you to help us to do it. But why? Because I've positioned myself as the only option. Because of how much I've just given. Because I can speak for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on video. I probably shouldn't run it. But the point I'm making is, as long as you're adding value with every piece you're making, you'll gain this bank of stuff, which is a passive ad online. Right now, because of the amount of content I have online, I'm probably being seen by 4 to 15 clients, new clients. I have no idea who they are. Absolutely not a clue. But they will come through when they're ready. When they want to do video, them watching a piece of content from me today, while I'm doing this right now, which is really inception-y, will be part of the choice-making process that they've already made psychologically in their own head. Because they'll go, oh, Carlton's there again. So every time, they're just positioning me higher and higher and higher and higher and higher in comparison to someone else who does video, someone else who does printing, someone else who does detailing. Right? So how are you bridging that gap? And there's a lot of talk at the moment about, oh, the economy is going to be hard, or we're just seeing what's coming out of COVID and it's really difficult. So if you've got this much room between you and your competition, why are you worried? Because you're so far ahead, what are they going to do? Magically create 500,000 pieces of content in the span of a week? No, come on. And if you're creating 4, you're still 4 ahead. But when are you going to start? You don't have this archive set of content until you start. And that's why it's really important to establish why you're doing it first. Because the only way it's going to reciprocally give you a load of work in hindsight, long term, is because you started 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago. Now it doesn't matter if you start today, but just be very aware that it's going to take 6 months to 8 months to 9 months to 10 months to 2 years until you see anything. But that's why it's your long-term thing. It's the thing you do in the downtime. It's not the, I'm going to do this, it's going to get me work. No, you might get really lucky, right? You might post the right video at the right time, it might hit the right person, right? That's just luck. But you can increase your probability of that happening by increasing the amount of times you post. The more content you have, the more likelihood it is the right person at the right time is going to find it. There's lots of other strategies you can do. Hashtags, target audience, really targeting it from an advertising point of view. I won't get any of that today because it's not relevant right now to what you guys are trying to do. What you guys are trying to do is go, okay, I have a business. It's currently where it is. I'm great, really grateful, really happy with where it is, but I want it to be so much better. So how am I going to get it there? A way, or one of the best ways, is to create legacy content that, especially if you're going to have the same conversation again, film it once, then you can use it. So let's say, who has a common question that they answer in a sales call?
What's your minimum quantity of business cards you can print for?
Okay, minimum quantity of business cards. Would you rather say that 3 times a day, film it once and then send them the video? That's a benefit of doing video. Doesn't have to be as a video, can be as a video. What, any other questions that you say a lot of?
I get asked what a blog post is or whether their business needs one.
Okay. Is the answer quite... Could the answer to the question be quite generic?
Yeah, absolutely. I think blog posts are important for every business. So.
Okay. So then, would you rather say that, or would you rather have a video that you can then use? And what can happen when you do it as a video form is you can go very specific. You can go really in depth in one sector. You can say, for this sector, hi lawyers. Blog post is important for you because. Hi dentists. Blog post is really important because. Right?
How are you doing that? If you get those inquiries for those questions, do you mean you send them a link to the video on your YouTube page?
Depends on
or
if
you send them the video
it depends on. Okay, so there's two answers.
On the phone, you want to give an answer.
So it depends on. This is where your own trust in your sales methodology needs to be really strong. You need to ask yourself: is that prospect that's reaching out to you? Do you have an opportunity to tell them on the phone? Are they on the phone right now and you could just tell them the answer? Sure. Is that going to mean you win the sale? Okay, great, cool. If it does, do it. But you should have a mental note and then maybe a physical note afterwards and say, okay, well, I've been asked this question in 5 different sales calls, none of which have actually got to the point of sale yet, right? And then, if that happens to you a lot, you can then ask yourself and go, right, is this prospect that I'm about to spend an hour talking to, half an hour talking to, 15 minutes talking to, whatever, an amount of time talking to, actually most likely ready to sign a deal with me? Now this is just being really brutal, but are they? Right? Is this call going to make me money, yes or no? Is the answer I want you to think about. And that could be £5 or £5,000. Doesn't matter. Is it going to make you money right now? If the answer to that question is no, and you have the answer in a video, give them the video. And say, I would love to talk about more of your challenges. Feel free to let me know when is a good time to talk. Because what you're doing is you're going directly to their solution. They just want to know, why is blog writing good for lawyers? They might not be ready to buy some copywriting services. They just want to be educated. Now, it's up to you. You might say, actually, well, no, I want to talk to the person. I want to start to nurture them. I want to have that conversation. Fantastic. Then have the conversation. But if you don't have something else to give them, you only have the option of, I have to now have that conversation. Now at the beginning, you have to do that. But as you start creating content, you then got these assets you can then use, right? And say, okay, this is a common question I have, here's the answer. You have the option of saying, I'm going to give you the answer, or I'm going to give you the answer with me talking on camera. Because you're still going to be able to add rapport because it's you talking on camera. So you're still actually talking to them, but you're physically not talking to them. So you're not trading time within that specific day to talk to them. Because it might be 6 months down the line, 3 months down the line, 2 months down the line, 1 day down the line, that they will want to have that conversation with you, but you will actually be able to add enough value so you can push them across to a sale. And this is where it's that having that balance of you need to make sure you know whether they're ready to bite or not, or whether they're in a position where they're going to buy from you or not. Now you may not know that. Okay, fine, then just make a judgment call and then make a decision. And it's just trial and error that you'll know. But eventually, once you've done enough sales conversations, you'll know kind of whether they are or not. And then it's a point of, if anyone ever says to you, oh, we need time to think about it, what they're saying is we need more information. That's what you should be hearing when you hear that. It's got nothing to do with they need time. They need more information. They need to be educated. Because if it was a desirable thing that they had, and they were like, this is literally something I have to do right now, then they would do it right now. The reason why it isn't is because they're not educated enough on it. And it's your job to educate them.
So on the flip side of that, if you quote someone,
Yep.
I know quite a lot, you spend the time, you have that conversation, you find out their needs, their requirements, you
Yep.
talk through it, you quote them, and then it goes dead. You don't hear anything.
Okay,
or
so
you don't get
how-
feedback. So if there's more content available, they might be thinking, that's more money than I want to spend. But if there's content they can go and look at, then actually they can break down the reason why it costs what it costs.
So there's two ways I would answer that. Number one is, how are you quoting them? Are you sending them it via an email? Or are you having a call? Like,
Either or both, or a mix of the two.
so my recommendation would be you never quote by email. Ever. Ever. Never just send a quote. The process should be, an inquiry comes in, hey, this sounds amazing, let's jump on a call to hear about your needs. Legitimately, I want to know exactly, am I the solution that they need? Right? Great, cool. Then in that call, you give them the quote. The reason why is you can then question or get the objection back. Give the quote, how does that sound? Oh, it's a bit too, okay, cool. So now I can educate you on why it costs this much, if that's the hurdle, right? And then what you do is you follow up that call with the email, reciprocally just saying what you just said in the call. And then if you have content that also reinforces the points you made about why it's expensive, then you win. Because then they're going to go, okay, I get that. Okay, I get that. Here it is again. Okay, I get it. Take my money. Clean my car. Right? I'm conscious of time, so I want to move quickly into some practical examples. So what I want you to do now is think about a pain point that your potential client has that you can answer in 1 minute. So a question a client would have that you're able to answer in 1 minute. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about that. I would recommend writing it down. And in a minute, you'll realise why I needed everyone to have TikTok on their phone. How are we looking, guys? You all have a question?
Should be easy. The question thing, but
And if this isn't easy for you, this is an example of why this is something you need to practice.
yes.
Because how are you going to give value to your audience if you don't know what they're suffering with, or what their pain points are, or what their issues are, or what they're trying to overcome? Because you can't be in a position of authority to say, this is how you overcome your problem, if you don't know their problem.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm a bookkeeper, so I do kind of know what their problem is. I'm just not sure how I answer that.
Okay, so what's their problem?
Organisation, interest, lack thereof, paperwork.
It's boring, I hate it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you make bookkeeping fun?
Good question. How do you make bookkeeping fun?
A way is to
They
get.
don't do it.
A way is to flip the other way around.
That's how it's
Is
done.
to say, you think bookkeeping's really boring. What if your books are out of order? What does that look like in your business? What happens to the business?
Like, this is what it looks like when they come to me.
But what's worst case scenario?
Worst case,
Worst case scenario, if their books are absolute trash and they can't do a tax return, what?
and then they can't file their tax returns.
And then what?
Business fails.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine, leading to potentially business fails. Okay, now we know what we're creating content around.
Fines.
Fines.
How to avoid fines on HMRC. Don't have shit books.
Give me your receipt.
Job done. I mean, in Crux, am I wrong?
No.
No, but then
I know there's a lot more complications and a lot more what I would call fluff
they know that already.
around that, granted, but sometimes in content, the really simple what I just did deliver now would actually hit the mark. Okay, you've got my attention, right?
Yeah, so
Your business will fail if you have shit books, but here's how I can fix it. Okay, I'm now really interested on why me having shit books is a good idea, right?
yeah. Okay.
So after the practice, I'm going to give a little bit of a breakdown of how to do a video like effectively. And the point of that is not to intimidate you into having to do it that way. It's for you to be aware that that's what you should try and emulate. Ideal world, right? So who knows what this is? Or these are? Headphones, yeah? Who knows what this is? This bit of it.
Mike.
Why do you think it's designed like this? You're right. What's the byproduct? Byproduct of it is you have a mic that you can move to your mouth. The key part of video is me being able to hear you, right? Phones are incredibly good at creating content because they're designed to have phone calls. Which means if you hold a phone like this, you're probably not that far away. You might as well have a phone call on speaker. And ideally, if you have headphones like this, I'd recommend in this practical exercise you record it like this. Ideally, you would record it like this. You'll see some TikToks where people do this. The reason why is because they're moving the mic as close to the sound source as humanly possible. Because then you can articulate to your audience directly. So can everyone please get out their phone? You don't need headphones. It's an ideal thing to work around some of the things. Again, these are things to think about. These are not ideals. The point of this initial exercise is going to be getting into the habit of actually, can I talk to a camera? Right? Getting through that uncomfortable feeling of, oh, I've got to talk to a camera. So some very quick fundamentals around how and why to create a piece of content, right? Something you see on Zoom calls is people doing it like this. So they've got a phone in front of them, or they've got their laptop in front of them, or webcam in front of them, and they will shoot so that the camera is pointing out the window. So the window's behind me. The problem that happens there is your camera, and you'll know this as a photographer really well, is the camera can choose what it's going to expose or light for. The problem with it when you do this is it's going outside is a huge amount brighter than in here. So it's going to have to guess. Ideally, it will try and find a middle ground. But the concept of the middle ground is I'm a black blob with a white box behind me. Right? So turn around. Go close to a window, and we're going to do this exercise in a minute, hence why I'm doing the song and dance. Stand here and talk this way. Because what's happening, instead of the phone trying to illuminate the background, you're being lit by the sun, indirectly, through the window, and it will give you this beautiful soft light on your face. Which, for the people who are really concerned about how they look, is more flattering than this. Promise you, it is. The other thing that people sometimes get wrong is when they hold their phone up to create a video, they look at the screen. Don't look at the screen. On the top of your selfie phone or camera, look at the camera, okay? Make eye contact with the camera. And if you want to know the difference, create a short video looking at the screen, then create another video directly looking at the camera. You can try it now if you want.
Same as a video camera's got a flip out screen.
Don't look at the
screen, not a lens.
Don't look at the screen.
And it's like really...
People connect with eye contact with a person, right? The reason why we're able to connect right now is because I'm making eye contact and trying to make eye contact with each person in the room. So you're going to connect with what I'm doing. When you create content, you have to do the same thing. But you need to remember that the camera is where it's being filmed from, which means if you want to connect to the person that you are recording, you need to talk to the camera. Now, if you want to start by looking at the phone and you're just getting into the printer, fine. Like, all these things are suggestions to how to improve. It's not you have to do all of these things at the beginning, because that's not fair. But first get over the hurdle of doing it, then get over the hurdle of, okay, I'm now going to look at the lens and do one thing at a time. So, this is the fun bit, guys. This is the fun bit. We could do this one at a time, it's up to you. We could do this it's not going to be perfect, but audio-wise it's not going to be perfect if we all do it at the same time. But I think for this example and source of time, it will also be good to do it all at the same time and also make everyone not feel like everyone's watching them, which will not help with the situation at all. In an ideal world, you should be as close to this window as you can. Feel free to get up and move. But what you're looking to do is you're looking to do and create, so open your camera feed on your phone. Switch it to the selfie camera, and then walk to the window, and before you've even thought, press record and start talking. It's very important you do this quickly. I'll explain why after, but it's very important you do this quickly. Okay?
Doesn't matter what we talk about.
Nope. No, literally, this first exercise is walk to the window. It's great if you're here, because you literally just stand up and start talking.
Video marketing, learning about likes and
Press record, guys. Going to video.
Hold on. No, I've done a video.
Done a photo.
What is what?
Just,
That's where you start, isn't it?
it's alright. Made a mistake. Made the mistake now.
Oh my god.
Just go through your entire feed.
I'll look at that later, right.
Oh yeah.
So, just a tip, guys, don't do photo modes.
Because if you walk
So
up, you go
I've
like,
to
we
record.
can do it when you're on the way up. You are in motion. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
So how was your first ever video, guys?
Bad, it was a photo.
Well, preferably yes. I mean, having the phone in the right mode does help, I hear. So what I was trying to get you to do there was get in the way of your brain going, this is going to kill me! Because it's not, right? Really quickly, psychologically, what's happening is your brain's job is to keep you alive, right? This is something which is uncomfortable and your brain doesn't have enough evidence to go, this isn't going to kill me. So quite literally, your brain's stopping you from doing it because it thinks you're going to die. From a tribal point of view.
It will.
Right? I promise you won't die from video, I promise you. The reason why you just do it is you can jump in the way of your brain triggering the moment. Right? Now, we're going to do the same exercise again, but what I want you to notice, make sure you're in the video. What I want you to notice is it might be only slight, but it will be slightly easier for you to do. And another reason why I got you to move is your brain is really confused. It's going, hold on, you want me to move my legs and you want me to do what? So we're giving your brain stuff to distract it from doing it. So let's try one more time. We're going to do the same thing again. Literally, same. It doesn't matter what you talk about. Just create a video, get up, walk to the window, create another video, walk back.
Video mode.
Yes, video. Run up and jump out the window, guys, come on.
Video mode. Testing on the video mode.
Smile that time. Notice that.
And press record. That's the thing. Some people do it and they haven't pressed record, don't they? It's like...
So how was that?
It was marginally better, to be honest.
Did it feel better?
It was marginally better.
Look, this is going to be 1% improvement every time, right? Little, this is what I mean by little steps, baby steps every time, right? The point for me is to get you to the point where you're just going to do it. You're not going to think about doing it. You're not going to worry about doing it. You're not going to think, what am I going to talk about? Because the next bit's really exciting. That question you wrote down, I want you to take about 3 minutes to think about how you would tell your best friend if they asked you that question over coffee or wine or however much in that scenario. Just have a think in your head about how you would answer it. And then when you're ready, get up, don't think, record it. Press go, say what you said in your head.
What's the optimum time for a TikTok or real video?
As short as you can is the simplest answer, but I wouldn't worry too much about optimizing it right now. The concept is actually getting you to do it. You're going to you're going to you're going to fluff, you're going to say things wrong, you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. The point of this exercise is to get you to do it. So then you have a fundamental understanding of how to do it, and maybe it's not perfect, but it never will be perfect. It's about the concept of then starting to do it consistently and building it into your routine. So as you just noticed, we've done it twice, and you're already a little bit further ahead of doing it.
One thing I really struggle to do is look at the camera, not on myself.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So what I would tackle there is, when you get comfortable with the concept of doing video, the next thing you need to work on is I need to bring my eyes up to look at the lens.
Yeah.
The thing is that some people worry about when they do video specifically is they go, I've got all these things to learn and I can't do them all at the same time. Then don't. Get with the concept of doing one video, get comfortable with doing that, then work on something else. Then work on lighting, then work on sound, then work on content. Eventually, if you're going to use the art of compounding, if you make 1% improvement every day for the next year, you'll be 37 times more better than you were when you started. But just make 1% a day. So maybe today's 1% is, I feel more confident at doing video. Great, fantastic. Okay, tomorrow's 1% is, I'm going to feel even better about doing video. Okay, keep doing that for a week. Next week, I'm now going to try and look at the lens, which is harder than most people think. Right? Because naturally we'll go, yeah!
If I look at the lens, it's quite distracting if I look at myself.
Yes.
I mean, a technique you can do is if you have a tripod set up or etc. and you're not doing this really walking exercise, is you can set up your phone, put a post-it note over the screen, so with your notes on it, so it forces you to look at the lens or you're going to look at the notes, one of the two, because you can't see yourself. So that's suddenly not an option, right?
All right, I like that.
So take about 3 minutes or so, maybe 5 minutes, somewhere around there, and think about if your best friend asked you that question over coffee or wine, how would you answer it? You're trying to help them. They're a starting out business owner. They've come to you with this question. How are you going to help them? You care about them. You want them to succeed. You want them to be incredibly profitable and wonderful and all happiness about their business. And this answer is going to push them on that journey. Have a think.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, get up and record it to your phone.
When you say talking to your best friend,
Yeah.
are we still answering a question that our clients
So-
might ask us?
So this question that you've written down,
Yeah.
I'm your best friend. What's your question?
My question was, I want a newborn shoot. I want a newborn shoot with those lovely curly sleepy poses, but what happens if the baby can't get the baby to sleep?
Okay.
That's a
So
question a client might ask me. not
yeah,
my best
yeah,
friend.
yeah, fantastic. So I'm a new client. This is another way to think about it. A new client's come to you with this problem, right? Just got married, just had a new kid, really want to capture that point in their life because they're going to get really big really fast, right? But I've got this problem. How would you answer it?
I'm very confident we can get baby to sleep. I have some great baby whispering skills, which you might even learn something when you're with me. That sounds a bit fancy.
Okay, so you've got a good structure there. Now go through it in your head a couple of times.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Until you're sick of hearing it in your head, get up and record it.
Okay.
And it's really important to not have a gap in between the concept of I'm going to get up and record it and actually doing it. Because again, we're trying to break that pattern in your brain where your brain's going to jump in and go, this is scary, we're not going to do this.
Do you think it's better to write kind of bullet points of what you want to say and then fill it in on the cuff? Or actually in your head know exactly what you're going to say?
The answer is both, and it depends on your style.
Yeah.
At this stage, none of that matters because we're just trying to get you into the principle of doing it. Everything else you can optimize, you can get better at, and my recommendation would be that you write detailed notes around whatever you're going to discuss and not a script.
Yeah.
If you want to script it, that's fine. You script it. Personally, I don't like doing scripts because it will lock you into, and you're more likely to go, oh, I've missed a word, the world's over.
But you can do a bullet list of things.
If you do, I need to cover this, 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 and this, you've still got a lot of room. I mean, look, I'll show you. These are my notes for what we're talking about today. That's it. I need to cover this, this, and this. That's it. And the thing is, when you are genuinely an expert, you either know this stuff or you don't. And if you don't make content about it. Learn it and then take content about it. But if you genuinely are an expert, you'll know it. And you just need to trust in yourself that you actually do. I didn't know 95% of the stuff I was going to say today. Because I know it.
I wrote a script. I like a script. You know the launch
I wrote it.
Do it, do it.
And I do that.
Just do it.
Of
course, I can do a one-off t-shirt for Jack, and just let me know whether you want a photograph or whether you want just single colour writing or anything like that. Give me a call.
So I do the script, and I just read the white people,
Okay, give me a call.
and then I'll start reciting it as I walk around the house and I do it. But I will like input as
I
well.
don't know why we're doing this. We're filming.
That just felt right to me, I don't know.
The reason why you feel irritable and tired and not so good is because you're not honouring the natural rhythm of your body.
Do it. Do it.
You come to this section.
Don't think.
Just take a step back.
Press go, start talking.
Just to rest and really honour it. It's how do you
Safe place. So think about
What you have to take from that though is that you might have done it wrong, but you're going to sit up and do it again. So you check it the right way. It's all about that, isn't it?
what you're trying to do is you're trying to build this muscle. It's like anything, right? The reason why we're doing so many and we're doing it in quick succession is we're trying to build that muscle quickly, right? So that you're in the habit of doing it. So when you started today, you were like, oh, no way, right? But now, because we've done that muscle over and over and over again, every single thing that you think is like, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to assume they're going to look like it, you're like, fuck it, let's just do it.
Well, my first one was photos.
Yeah, but you've made that mistake now, so you're like, okay, cool, let's make sure it's on video.
Exactly, yes.
Thinking about all this was I was asked to do a presentation a couple of months ago. I hadn't done presentations for 30 years, so I was absolutely scared. And but like I said, I prepared all of what I wanted to say. And then I got up there, and somebody very kindly videoed it, and then sent the video to all the speakers. And I looked at it. Irritating things that I did.
Yeah, but then you could, that's one of the benefits of recording it as a video, right? Because then you can analyze it and you can say, right, how do I make this better, right? But if you never record it, you won't know that. But the thing is, it's about getting into the hurdle of just doing it, and then you can worry about everything else afterwards, because you've got something to look at, right? Your first video is never going to be good, right? Like, it's never going to be good. I'll break it to you right now. It's going to be a car crash. Get the car crash out of the way. Preferably don't be in it. Talk about death earlier. Never going to be a standard. Never going to be a joke. We're going to live down now. So how was that exercise?
No, I think I'm more nervous being in this room with other people.
Oh, this is a harder scenario to do it in. That's deliberate, right? Because if you can do it here now, it's very easy when you come to do it at home when you're on your own.
Yeah.
Right? But if we go right back to 10 o'clock, and I asked you to do that, you'd have all walked out.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy. See you later. I'm not doing this.
It's not too late.
I mean, hopefully not, but we've got about, well, officially 7 minutes. I want to do that as Q&A, if everyone's happy to do that as Q&A.
Just quickly.
Yes.
As you said earlier on about landscape and...
So the difference between landscape and portrait, if you're optimizing what you're doing, again, everything I'm about to say is optimizing what you're doing. LinkedIn and Facebook want you to be landscape, the other way around. And Instagram, TikTok, and any like infinite scrolling feed wants you to be portrait, so it fits into the screen. And from an algorithmic point of view, it will punish you if you've just put a landscape video with a big black bar on each top and bottom. It will, because it'll be able to see it. The way around that, if you haven't filmed it portrait and you are going to post-edit it, scale the video up. Now that comes into problems because how we're filming it deliberately is so I can do that. And if you haven't done that, that could be challenging. But for you guys' case, I would just always film stuff as portrait because that's most likely how you're going to feel natural doing it because of the way you hold a phone, right? It's unlikely you're going to walk around like this, right? You're more likely to do it like that because it feels more natural in the hand, right? That's where a lot of this content comes from because the infinite scrolling feed is this. That's where it comes from. But that's also how it's going to be consumed and that's how the platform wants you to deliver it. So, but the thing you need to focus on at the moment is your content. Because it doesn't matter, I can make it look and sound amazing and I can teach you all of the techniques to how to do it. If your content's shit, no one cares. What you say has to be valuable. I'm not saying at the beginning, and that's why I did an entire hour on understanding about who, why, and when. Because if you get that stuff right, and as long as you can actually articulate it through like decent audio, so it's not really muffled and really bad in regards to audio, everything else doesn't matter. It can be dark. It can be like not ideal framing wise. It cannot be an ideal video from a visual point of view, and it doesn't matter. Because it's not the product you're selling. For me, everything has to be on point because that's the product I'm selling. But for you guys, it isn't. So again, it's like understanding who are you talking to and what are they going to judge, quote unquote. Does that answer your question? Fantastic. Any other questions?
Reels? Just making a reel. I mean, so many people that do what I do, they make so many reels about the bits that they've done to the vehicle,
Mhm.
you know, and they zoom in and pan out and spin round and put the music.
I mean, we're getting quite arty at this point because of what you do is great, and you can do that kind of content, and that
Yeah,
content's
well,
really visual.
If you so wind that back.
Yeah.
What's the most simplistic, most basic way? Because I've never made a reel
Mhm.
to do a basic reel, either of me being, me filming myself saying something,
Yeah.
or a basic reel of showing some work that I've done.
Do you have Instagram on your phone? Open Instagram. Everyone can do this. It'd be a good exercise for everyone to do. So open Instagram. If you've updated your app, it'll be at the bottom of the screen. We're looking for a plus button. Click that one. Select Reels. Now, there's going to be two cameras you're either going to see. One, it's your back camera. So if you see the floor, it's your back camera. If you see yourself, it's the selfie camera. It should be the selfie camera, hopefully. And the quickest and easiest way to create a reel, at the bottom of the screen, there's a white circle. Hold that white circle and it will turn red. You're now recording that camera. So if you go down to the... Yeah, so you're on your one version back on your app. So you just go here and then go to Reels.
Hold it down and just press it.
Yep. So if you hold it down, so press it. There you go. So you're now recording.
And then you start again.
So now I would just talk. So you're being invited to remix other content, which is very exciting but absolutely useless. So we're just going to click OK for now. And there we go. So what you are all hopefully now seeing is the real curation platform within Instagram. The TikTok one looks identical. Outside of it's got TikTok branding instead of Instagram branding. This is how I would start. Because you don't have to edit, you don't have to do anything. I'll use your example with like loads of different clips.
Yeah.
Quick clip, stop. Quick clip, stop. Quick clip, stop. That's how that's made.
Okay.
And because Instagram wants you to create real content, the entire ecosystem of that platform is designed to be easy to use. I can go through it if you want me to, but I think it would be a waste of time because it is pretty self-explanatory. It's do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. You have a set of clips. You can then play around with those clips. You can move the order. You can add music. You can delete some clips. It's all within the app. So it's designed in a specific way where you can literally go from opening Reels to posting a reel in like 3 minutes. It's designed to be quick because Instagram was like, we want as many people, and they've literally announced yesterday that every video on Instagram in the next month will transition into a reel. Every single video. So that's all the videos that were just videos and anything new. Automatically will be posted as a reel.
What if you want to do, if you want to do say you want to do a 10-second video, something in a story, that's just a story frame, isn't it, really, essentially? But that's going to change into a reel.
So the stories is the only thing that will stay separate because they're separate. They're basically the concept of stories is a 24-hour glimpse into my life. That's the idea of it. But the actual content you post to your page is because at the moment Instagram is quite confusing. We've got videos over here, we've got IGTV over here, we've got reels over here. So Instagram went, okay, we're just going to combine them all. Because it's too confusing and there's too many, and people don't really know what's going on, and there's the videos over here, and videos mean this, and we've got a different app completely for video, and so it's just a massive...
And where does the reel go? On the story timeline, or
So when you get to the end of creating the reel, so the reel's been created, you'll be then asked to write a caption, and in the drop down you'll also be given an option to say where your location is, or etc. And then you're also given a toggle switch which says post to feed, and if it's off, it won't post to feed. So if it's off, it will only go into your real part of your profile. If you post it to the feed, it will go into the grid as normal on Instagram. So it depends on, do you want it in the grid or do you not want it in the grid?
And if you don't, it's gone?
Nope, if you don't, it goes into the separate tab that has the real logo. So it will just be posted there. And then you can, and basically the reason why you should post stuff as an Instagram reel over something else is because when you post as a reel, it goes into the reel algorithm instead of going into the video algorithm, which will give you the likelihood that it could go viral. There's lots of science behind that. I won't get into that today. If someone wants to have a conversation with me afterwards about that, I can. The crux is post as many things as reels as possible because Instagram wants people to use reels, so they will reward you for attention by using Reels, right? The same with TikTok, the same with Facebook, the same with LinkedIn. All of these platforms, real feed, we're on the real feed, everyone. All of these platforms want you to create video because it's becoming the most engaged thing from the perspective of content. No offense. It just is. Not against me.
Lucky I've launched a new business.
I know.
The other question then is, if you were,
Yeah.
what we were doing a minute ago is, if say you filmed yourself for 30 seconds answering a question, you can either do that as a reel or you can do it as a piece, as a 30-second video clip and put it in a post.
Yes.
And then it stays in the post timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend you post it as a reel and then post it to your grid. So using the caption as you would do normally.
You get the best of both worlds.
So then you can win-win on that aspect. What you can also do is in that initial, when you start creating a reel profile, at the bottom left is a plus button. If you click that button, it will open your camera roll. So that's how, if, for example, you wanted to use the video we literally just did just now on your camera roll, and you wanted to put that on Instagram Reels, that's how you would do it. You would go add. It's also a way, if you're going to create something that's quite complicated in respect to it's got a shot here, here, film those on your camera roll.
Okay.
Instead of in the app.
3 seconds, 3 seconds,
Yeah.
4 seconds, 5 seconds.
And then when you get back from the job or when you're sat down at home, you can then sit there and go, right, I'm going to add this one first.
Okay.
Then I'm going to add this
You
one.
go into
Then
Reels app
and then you
bring
can
them in
start
the camera roll.
so what you'll do when you add them, it will add them in chronological order to the where you add them. So if I add the shot of the clean car first, it'll be the clean car at the start of the video.
Yeah.
And so on all the way through. It's something to be aware of from a storytelling point of view. If it is going to be dirty to clean,
Yes.
make sure it is
Through the
dirty
process.
to clean and not clean, dirty, cleaning, dirty, clean, because it will just be jarring and be really weird for the viewer. Ideal world for you would be really dirty car. Look at all the things I did. Look, it's glistening and lovely. That's a really easy example, right? Because it's very visual. But you can take exactly what you do as well. The reason why I'm getting you to start with just, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing, is because they're easier. It doesn't take some level of, and I'll quickly go into like structure of a video. The first 3 seconds of a video is the most important, full stop. It's called the hook. It's because I need to hook your attention into what's the rest of the video. It doesn't matter whether I'm going to give you incredible value in the next 30 seconds if you swipe past in the first 3. So there's multiple different kinds of hooks. An example is, did you know blank? The solution is blank. Or using my analogy from earlier with the books, if you have shit books, your business will die. But here's a solution. So I've got around 4 seconds at the word but. Okay, so I'm like, fucking hell. What do you mean my business is going to die? Right now, that's a quite drama-related one, but that's sometimes what you want. Because you want to stop people in their tracks and go, fuck me, I need to listen to this.
You want to arrest the audience.
That's what I mean,
don't you?
right? Because they're like, or sometimes it might be, like, you know, a logic we sometimes use in your analogy would be, here's the clean car for a split second, or like 1 second, here's me doing it, or then a shot of it dirty, and then here's what I did. Or if you were doing it like really vlog day in the lifestyle, it'd be like, clean car, hey guys, I'm going to be doing this, whatever you're doing, and then the clean car at the end.
There's a guy that does video, he's called Mountain Rug Cleaning. Okay, so a bit of a reveal here. And he takes absolutely disgusting rugs and cleans them and makes them good. I would say, personally, you've got a fabulous opportunity to just zone in, not, you know, on a tyre that's got to be one of the dirtiest parts of a car.
What, yeah.
Can
be.
Well, look at this.
You didn't see what I did on Tuesday, but there we go.
you in camera showing what you're doing to it.
Yeah.
Have a look at that. Have a look at Mountain
Yeah,
Rug.
the flip side of that, for me,
It's a
is
great before and after opportunity
Yeah.
that you've got that maybe
Yeah.
the rest of us I can't do it.
quite a lot of the time I go away from showing too many befores, because if it's a job that I don't want to get more of that work,
Yeah,
if I show it, I'll get more of that work.
that's a really key point,
If
actually.
I put lots of pictures of
Yeah.
motorhomes, I hate doing motorhomes. If I do a client's car and they've got a motorhome, I'll do their motorhome.
Yeah.
I won't advertise. I do
So the really, really key thing with anything you do in marketing is only advertise the stuff you want more of.
Yeah.
Right? If I want more workshops, I'm going to advertise that I've done a workshop. Right? If I don't want a workshop, I won't advertise I want to do a workshop. Because you'll get what you put out. Right? I mean, how did I get to this situation? Quite literally, I put out me talking in front of a room, and now I'm stood in front of a room.
Simple, really.
People sometimes overthink marketing. It's cause and effect. That's it. You do this thing, it has this approach later on.
Just a quick question. When you're doing the videos for the reels,
Yep.
it goes into your reels section,
Yep.
but you choose when you want it to go public, or does
So-
it automatically go public?
So when you post it and you press post, it will go live. So the one thing which is a caveat on Reels specifically is it has lots of attention, but there isn't a scheduling API for it yet, which is really annoying.
You can't save a draft.
No.
Come back to
Well, I know you can save a draft, but what you can't do is go into like the Facebook schedule or the Instagram schedule and go, right, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, I want this reel to go live. You can do that with normal video posts, and from what it's sounding like, you will be able to do that soon with Reels, because if they convert all the videos into Reels by proxy, they have to give the API to themselves to be able to do that. So it would make so much sense for them to give the scheduler within Facebook the ability to schedule Reels, which, by the way, will be a complete game changer for anyone not doing Reels right now, because it means you can basically bulk record a load of Reels, have no downside because you'll post them all in the Reel algorithm, and be able to bulk record. But also it means the Reel algorithm and the concept of doing Reels is going to get so competitive it's not even funny, because you guys will be genuinely competing against people like me who can create 25 Reels a day. So it's like, now's the time to do it, because when that starts to happen, it's not like it happened, there's no point. There's lots of point, and there's lots of more reason to do it, but it's going to get harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And that's why I'm saying, and I said at the beginning, the sooner you do this, the sooner you can win from doing it.
How important is trending audio?
It depends on if you want a trend jack or not, or what I would call trend jam, which is basically you take a song or something which has organic clips or organic coverage and you twist it to your business. Personally, I would rather build a slower group that takes time to grow in respect to, like, it's just organic content and there's no trending sounds and etc. Because I'm not trying to explode my account, because again, I'm not trying to I don't want numbers, I want a good amount of the right numbers. But the thing is with sound specifically is you'll just get a load of influx of people, which there's pros and cons to having, but it's not exactly what you want, especially when you're doing it to grow your business. To grow your business, actually, arguably, I would say just create original content that talks to your ideal consumer or the person you're trying to help, and put it out and let karma worry about everything else.
Do you think concentrate more now about me being the face and talking?
The thing you should concentrate on is becoming the only authority figure in your niche. That's it.
Yeah.
That's an adding value to the people you want to serve.
Yeah.
Being the only person who can be that solution for them.
I've overthought it from the start, and I've gone straight in with trying to do these fancy reels and just got myself in
Yeah.
my knickers in a bit of a twist about it.
Thing is, you are a lovely person. And
Well,
I think
thank you.
I think to our faces. I definitely think that you showing you is going to be a massive thing in what you do with photography, because I'm going to be more drawn to you.
Especially in what you do, because people want to be, like when I do coaching or when I do video consulting or video production with people, they want to connect with me to have a connection with me because they want to trust me. Because when we do interviews, they're talking to me, right? They're not, the cameras happen to be there, but they're talking to me, which means if we can have a good conversation and I can keep you basically distracted from this really intimidating thing I'm putting you in, because you know what the goal is while you're doing it, it really helps. And that's why I'm trying to be in content as much as possible, because then you can really get to gel with me and you can work out really quickly, am I someone you're going to connect with or not? And moving back to what we discussed at the beginning, you're going to get people who are going to be like, holy shit, he's perfect. You're also going to get people like, he's a fucking twat. But you don't want those people, because those people were never going to pay you because they think you're a twat. You do want those people. That's all right.
Sports day and I'm needed. So.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you took value from it. Shall we officially close it there? I'll be still around if anyone wants to ask questions, but thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.